it's in an advertising newspaper. So in 1906 began a policy of denationalization through Americanization. It was a program for patriotic exercises put out by the Department of Public Instruction. Its objective was to erase the national consciousness of the Hawaiian Kingdom in the minds of school children and to force them to speak English, and if they don't speak English, they can be beaten. That's like saying, good morning in Serbian. If the children spoke Hawaiian, they were severely disciplined. Within 3 generations, denationalization was complete. Gone. Nobody knows nothing. And here's a newspaper article from the Honolulu Weekly Magazine that did a story on this brainwashing. And they visited Iolani Public School, grades 1 through 8, Kahumanu Public School, and Honolulu High School before the name was changed to President William McKinley High School. So they took a picture of the students of Iolani School, and this is what the caption says. Because at the command of the principal, they yell in unison, "We give our heads and our hearts to God and our country. One country, one language, one flag." This scene shows a salute to the American flag, which flies in the grounds of the Iolani Public School, which has many Japanese pupils. The drill is constantly held as a means of inculcating patriotism in the hearts of the children, shoving it down. Repetition. Did you know the reason why there were 73% Caucasians in the high schools? Because Hawaiians weren't allowed to go to high school. My papa, when he graduated from grade school, he started working. He's a construction guy. A lot of Hawaiians went through that because they weren't allowed to go to high school. So the false narrative that concealed 130 years of the American occupation. It began in 1898, the way the narrative starts today. Hawaiian Islands were incorporated into the territory of the United States. In 1946, the United States reported to the United Nations Secretary General that Hawaii was a colonial possession under its administration since 1898. Colonial possession is a territory that is not a country of their own. And in 1959, the United States reported to the United Nations Secretary General that the people of Hawaii exercised their right of self-determination and chose to be the 50th state of the United States of America. The problem is those people that voted, if they were Hawaiian nationals, those brainwashing to believing they were American already. And their voting was to just change the territory to the state so they can control who's voting for the governor. But it's operating by people who don't know any consciousness. My dad and them, they didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing. Now I know something. So, Donald James Will, British novelist, wrote, "When a well-packaged web of lies has been sold gradually to the masses over generations, the truth will seem utterly preposterous and its speaker a raving lunatic." Welcome to lunacy. But it's actually flipped now. You know, when I was doing this back in the 90s, front page newspaper, perfect title, the whole thing, I was a lunatic. I'm a criminal. Yes. Today, it ain't talk to side. Guess what? I teach about what happened back then in the 1990s in my class. It's part of my dissertation. Yeah. But, you know, I got thick skin. I was in the Army. You know, I pick my battles. But don't think I'm not going to knock you out. I'm just waiting for that time. And what I'm knocking out is your mind, not your physical body, right? So, that's pretty dismal. Should be, now what?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah.
Okay, after I saw that, I'm like, okay, what do I do? So what I decided I needed to do was to get out of the Army, put in my retirement, got out after 10 years, honorably discharged as a captain. Then started walking to this path. And this is before political science, my master's degree, my PhD, which is in 2004 and 2008. This is 1994, right? So my training as an officer, Army officer, is what's going to inform how you approach this military problem. Because what they did in 1893 was illegal, but was just non-compliance to Army regulations and international law. Okay, military approach toward a military occupation. So that's me when I used to be in the military. That's in Japan. Japanese Defense Force. I was up at Chitose base in Hokkaido. And I saw Japanese Defense Force people hop up, half Japanese, look like half Howdy. And I asked one of the Japanese officers, you guys have a lot, because you have a lot of them. He says, it's actually half German, half Japanese, half Russian. Because Hokkaido borders Russia. I said, wow, that's pretty cool. And I gotta tell you, those Japanese officers, they love to drink. You just gotta turn your cup over. So determining the mission, so it's like, I used to box in college, so it's like before I go in, right, I gotta make sure who I'm going against. I gotta do intel on that guy. So I gotta determine a mission, meaning how I'm gonna fight him, right? So for over a century, the United States has not complied with international humanitarian law and the law of occupation by establishing a military government to provisionally administer Hawaiian Kingdom laws so the occupation will eventually come to an end. Compliance with the law of occupation will bring the prolonged occupation to an end through a treaty of peace, not getting our people to agree. How can I get you to agree when you don't know nothing? You know what happens when you put 1,000 Hawaiians together that are confused? Compounded confusion. That's all you get. Okay? So, again, compliance with the law of occupation will bring the prolonged occupation to an end through a treaty of peace. So the mission is through all legal means compel the United States and the state of Hawaii to begin to comply with international humanitarian law and the law of occupation, in light of the fact that nobody knows nothing. It's like fish swimming downstream and here's me going upstream. I'm getting hit by all these guys. So first we got to restore the government, because a country as a state can only speak through a government, not its people. But its people create the government. But in this case, our people are brainwashed. They don't know nothing. They don't even know what Hawaiian constitutional law is. They were led to believe that Kamehameha III, screwed the Hawaiians by having the Great Mahele so Hawaiians can own the land. Complete BS. And Donovan Presley here to straighten up that narrative, because he did a master's thesis on it. And his talk is coming up at 2:30, so I encourage you folks to stay for that one. Right? So we need to create a government with the fact that nobody knows nothing and how we do that. So I went back to my Army training. Assume the chain of command. Command by necessity. If the leadership gets killed, the private can assume the chain of command and become the acting lieutenant. Until a properly commissioned officer comes to relieve him, he will be held vicariously liable. And if he doesn't assume the chain of command, he gets court-martialed, because he's got to maintain the command structure. Well, we developed a plan to assume the chain of command all the way straight up to the general. And it's called the Council of Regency under Hawaiian constitutional law and the doctrine of necessity. And they say necessity is the mother of all inventions. MacGyver. We are going to do some MacGyver moves. And it's ultimately going to get tested, because it should. On February 28, 1997, Hawaiian subjects exercised their right of internal self-determination and took the necessary steps to restore the Hawaiian Kingdom government as a regency under the doctrine of necessity and Hawaiian constitutional law. A regency serves in the absence of a monarch. It is not the monarch. It's Article 33 of the Hawaiian Constitution. It's comprised of 4 ministers: Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of Finance, Minister of Interior, and the Attorney General. Addressing over a century of occupation, the Hawaiian Council of Regency was formed similar to the formation of governments in exile during the Second World War. In particular, the Hawaiian Council of Regency was established in similar fashion to the Belgian Council of Regency after King Leopold was captured by the Nazis. As the Belgian Council of Regency was established in London under Article 82 of the Belgian Constitution of 1831, the Hawaiian Council of Regency was established under Article 33 of the Hawaiian Constitution of 1864. We also came up with a strategic plan. How do we approach this problem? 3 phases. Phase 1, verification of the Hawaiian Kingdom as an independent state and subject of international law. This is where a reputable international body must verify the continued existence of the Hawaiian Kingdom as a state, and also the government of the Council of Regency as its government. We didn't know who that body would be, but that was our first phase, very critical. So it's not just me trying to explain to everyone, hey, the Belgians did it. No, we need some verification from outside. Once we get verification, then we move to phase 2. Exposure of Hawaiian statehood within the framework of international law and the law of occupation as it affects the realm of politics and economics at both the international and domestic levels. Phase 2 will focus on individual accountability and compliance to the law of occupation. And this is where it's going to get very, very hot, heated. You're going to feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, because I'm going to put the mirror up in front of you, and that's not who you really are. Naturally, that would then move to compliance, establish the military government, administer the laws of the occupied state, treaty of peace, occupation comes to an end. That's how it works. Would naturally kick in phase 3 when the occupation comes to an end by a treaty of peace. Phase 1, completed. Permanent Court of Arbitration verifies the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as a state, 1999. On November 8, 1999, the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, Netherlands, received a notice of arbitration in the dispute between Lance Larsen, a Hawaiian subject, and the Hawaiian Kingdom, represented by the Council of Regency. Before the Permanent Court could establish an arbitrational tribunal to resolve the dispute, it had to determine whether the Hawaiian Kingdom currently exists as a state under international law. That's the only way you're going to access the Permanent Court of Arbitration under what is called its institutional jurisdiction. On June 9, 2000, the arbitral tribunal was formed after the Permanent Court concluded that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as a state despite the American overthrow of the government on January 17, 1893. And it also recognized the Council of Regency as its government. So here they identify the Hawaiian Kingdom as a state, profound, huge, nobody knows. Back then. And that's me right there as the lead agent of the legal team. So I know this case very well. Right? Funny thing, I came home and I get Hawaiians coming up to me telling me what happened. And one of them was my cousin in a sovereignty group. No, that's not what happened. Take it easy, bro. A lot of swishing going on here. And from their website, Permanent Court of Arbitration website, the case is up there, and here's the dispute. Lance Paul Larsen, a resident of Hawaii, brought a claim against the Hawaiian Kingdom by its Council of Regency on the grounds that the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom is in continued violation of its 1849 treaty with the United States, principles laid down in the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties of 1969, the principle of international comity for allowing the unlawful imposition of American law over him that led to his incarceration. So, one fell swoop, boom, we're on the world court stage. But nobody knows nothing. Back home, silence. News media, silence. Yeah, they refer to me, oh, he's convicted felon for attempting to steal land that doesn't move. Yeah, that was the whole thing, it was all made up. And that's the legal team, right there. And that's at the Peace Palace, where they also houses the International Court of Justice. So phase 2 initiated. Exposure of the Hawaiian Kingdom as a state during oral hearings at the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague. So when you watch this, you're going to see when I'm giving this oral argument, I'm focusing on the state, I'm not focusing on Lance Larsen. Because we're going to use this bully pulpit to make the record.
The Dominion of the Hawaiian Kingdom. In summary, from 1840, the Hawaiian Kingdom possessed a constitutional government with elected and appointed officials and a complete system of civil and criminal laws to govern Hawaiian territory. On April 8, 1842, King Kamehameha III in Privy Council commissions 3 envoys to secure international recognition of Hawaiian independence. And these individuals are Timoteo Ha'alilio, William Richards, and Sir George Simpson. On December 19, 1842, Hawaiian envoys secured United States President Tyler's recognition of Hawaiian independence. November 28, 1843, the British government and the French government formally enter into a declaration recognizing Hawaiian independence. In our pleadings, we refer to that as the 1843 Anglo-Franco Proclamation. From that point, Hawaii has had its statehood recognized as being independent. As such, it began to enter into these treaties. Austria-Hungary, Denmark, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, Russia, Spain, and the United States of America. International recognition is evidence that the Hawaiian Kingdom had diplomatic representatives as of 1893 from those countries, as far as consulates and embassies. Rather, what we find is that the United States has never expressed itself as an occupier. Who would? They will never admit to occupation. But yet, to admit to occupation is in a sense to admit to the continued existence of the Hawaiian Kingdom as an independent state, which is really the crux of the matter. Which is actually what is holding up, you might say, this issue to be resolved. Thus, the legal order, thus the reestablishment of the government, thus the relationship between its nationals.
I mean, to be slightly unkind, but thus the issue in rem. The point is that if the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist, its existence is in rem. It's not in persona. The Hawaiian existence, the Hawaiian Kingdom doesn't exist solely in the opinion of Mr. Larson.
Right. But that existence should not be dependent upon an occupier, because you basically put the occupier on an equal footing with the Hawaiian Kingdom in its own territory. So really what needs to be addressed is what came before the occupation, whether the statehood or whether the legality or illegality of the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the illegality or legality of the United States as an occupier. Should the tribunal find it has jurisdiction, we are prepared to submit and offer a proof. We felt that this tribunal would offer some clarity so that for the first time we have a third party to present these type of merits that can be scrutinized by international law, rather than taking it before a United States tribunal, which could not rule on it to the detriment of itself. So in that sense, there is really no other way to address this issue. And the opportunity did arise because it was Mr. Larson who was adhering to Hawaiian Kingdom law. And if the United States was adhering to occupation, not whether they're illegal or illegal, but if they were adhering to the laws of occupation, we wouldn't be here right now.
So what you're hearing is a case dealing with jurisdiction of the tribunal, right? Because what the tribunal was addressing was, could they proceed on addressing Lance Larson's claims against the Hawaiian government for not protecting him from American laws being imposed here, without the United States involved? Because it was the United States that put him on trial and put him in jail, not the Hawaiian Kingdom. But Larson's attorney was alleging the Hawaiian Kingdom is liable for what the United States did. They call it a tort, okay? So what you also have here is institutional jurisdiction, which otherwise could be called the standing of the parties. That's what the Permanent Court of Arbitration had to determine before they could even create this tribunal, was whether or not the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as a state. And that's why we got phase one, check. And we moved on to phase two, exposure. Lance Larson eventually lost the case because the tribunal determined that they could not proceed without the United States involved. They are an indispensable third party. The thing though, the United States, although it was invited to enter the arbitration proceedings by both the Hawaiian Kingdom and Lance Larson's attorney, they approached us in The Hague through the Permanent Court of Arbitration. They're not going to access joining the proceedings, but they asked permission from the Hawaiian government if they could have access to all records and pleadings of the proceedings. You know what just happened right there, right? They just recognized the Hawaiian Kingdom and the government. And we said yes, transparency. And it was the Permanent Court of Arbitration that brokered that agreement. After oral hearings were held on the last day, December 11th, the Council of the Regency was called to a meeting by Rwandan Ambassador Jacques Biozagara in the city of Brussels, Belgium on December 12, 2000. Ambassador Biozagara was at the Permanent Court of Arbitration the previous Friday, and his government became aware of the Hawaiian Kingdom case. Like, what is Hawaii doing in the World Court? Right? Well, we not only allowed access to the pleadings and records for the United States, but any country. So he could access. Not that we knew he was going to ask this. At this meeting, Ambassador Zagara said his government, with the permission of the Council of Regency, was prepared to report to the United Nations General Assembly the American occupation. Now, I'm the lead agent, so I'm sitting in front of my legal team, my two cousins. It's the only ones you can trust, right? Hawaiians. So I'm in front of the ambassador, and you gotta play poker face like I'm an experienced diplomat. I'm a retired Army captain, you know, but I know when you gotta play it. In my mind, I'm going, oh, shit, we're about to move from one mountain to another mountain, and our people back home have no clue what the hell's going on. I said, Your Excellency, please excuse us, we need to have a meeting. So we went on the side table, we talked, sat back down in front of the ambassador. After careful consideration, the council I thanked the ambassador for Rwanda's offer, but it could not accept the offer in good conscience because it needed to address the devastating effects of denationalization first. So we already know we got it locked. Now we gotta go home and explain it. So how are we gonna do that? This is another component of phase 2. Well, we have to look at U.S. Army Field Manual 27-10 to see what we can do under the law of occupation. Remedies for violations of international law, war crimes. In the event of violation of the law of war, which is what the United States has done since 1893, the injured party, the Hawaiian Kingdom, may legally resort to remedial action of the following types. We're going to pick A. Publication of the facts with the view to influencing public opinion against the offending belligerent. Yeah. We need to be precise. Since returning from the Permanent Court in 2000, the Council of Regency addressed the devastating effects of the war crime of denationalization by having me enter the University of Hawaii Political Science Department graduate program to acquire a master's degree and a PhD degree specializing in international relations and law. This is where I'm gonna go, let's go. And consequently, I'm gonna be affecting everything being taught at the university because it's all wrong regarding Hawaii. In 2003, the Hawaiian Society of Law and Politics was established at the University of Hawaii that encouraged multidisciplinary research and publication of the facts on the subject of the Hawaiian Kingdom and the American occupation. The Society also publishes the Hawaiian Journal of Law and Politics at the University of Hawaii, and Professor Kalawai Moore is the editor. 6 volumes already, published on Hein Online. That's a law journal publication for universities. They reached out to us after reading volume 1 and 2. Can we put this up? Absolutely, because it gives that credibility, right? And this began a plethora of publications, master's theses, PhDs, attending conferences all over the world, Hawaii occupation, blah, blah, blah. Yes. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is how we're going to be influencing the public opinion. And this was published in Japan by Dennis Riches. This is not America. The acting government of the Hawaiian Kingdom goes global with legal challenges to end occupation. There's my first book, which is my doctoral dissertation turned into a history book. It's used in high schools today. It's actually used at Kamehameha. How is that? Alumni. I gotta tell you, back in high school, my classmates couldn't believe I could even read. All I cared about was playing football and trying to beat St. Louis. I kept losing. Damn option.
Everybody buy a copy.
And this was a good book. Lawrence Gunter. He's German, but political scientist from University of Hawaii. A power in the world, the Hawaiian Kingdom and Oceania, and he covers in there Hawaii's occupation. Okay? And what's cool about Lawrence, he speaks French, German, English, Hawaiian, Tongan. Where the French comes in, that guy goes into the archives in Brussels, Belgium. And lo and behold, boom, 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 it's all popping up. Italy, the doctoral student who got her PhD came to Hawaii and consulted with me. She ended up changing her dissertation from Native Hawaiians as indigenous people to now the Hawaiian Kingdom and its relationship with Italy. Oh yeah. And she even went to the National Library in Torino, because that's where the capital used to be, right? But that is where the government docs are there. And she said, that on the right side, you have all the treaties that are still in effect with Italy and foreign countries, and on the left side, all the treaties that have been terminated. And she said the Hawaiian Kingdom Treaty was on the left side. So she told me, and she actually wrote an article on this in Italian. She said that, no, this is wrong. A joint resolution did not change this treaty. This treaty is still in effect. And she explained, this is my doctoral dissertation. So they said, well, you go speak to the director. And they take doctors, PhDs, very seriously in Europe. So the director got back to her and says, you're correct. And they put the treaty on the right side. And that's Italy, all in Italian that I would not have known unless Manu told me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see it's starting to have a reach worldwide by nationals of those countries. In fact, next month, a professor of international law from Japan is flying in to meet with me because they need to incorporate Hawaii into the academy, into the curriculum about Hawaii's occupation. So it's just grabbing, and that's good. And that's my latest publication, Royal Commission of Inquiry, investigating war crimes and human rights violations in the Hawaiian Kingdom. There was a book review done on that. Now, academics know a book review can make or break your book. Now, this book was comprised of what I wrote, 3 chapters, but also 3 chapters written by outside scholars from Europe, right? War crimes committed in Hawaii, why the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist, and human rights violations. Professor Matthew Craven, Professor William Chabis, and Professor Federico Lenzerini. So this book review was published in the Polish Journal of Political Science in 2022. And this international law professor from the University of Poland writes, presented next is the genesis and history of the Commission's activity described by its aforementioned head, Dr. David KEANU. He presents the Commission's activity in detail by reference to concrete examples, with this part going on to recreate the entire history of the Hawaiian-U.S. relations, beginning with the first attempt at territorial annexation. This thread of the story is supplemented with examples and sources, texts relating to the recognition of the Hawaiian Kingdom by certain countries, example the UK and France, and taken as evidence of international regard for the integrity of statehood. Particularly noteworthy here is the author's exceptionally scrupulous analysis of the history of Hawaii and its state sovereignty. No obvious flaws are to be found in the analysis presented. What was that? That's a killer. Her review of the book, astounding. And she recommends international lawyers get it. And it's a free ebook. Yeah. So you can see again, our decision to go into the university was to make use of the academy, the standards of research, methodology, theoretical framework, all that stuff. And this is what makes the voices of our kupuna loud and clear. Here's my latest publication last year, published in a international law journal. All states have a responsibility to protect their population from war crimes, usurpation of sovereignty during military occupation of the Hawaiian Islands. That was published in the International Review of Contemporary Law. So this is pretty cool as things are moving, but again, I'm not just an academic. I'm also still in the government. I'm part of the Council of Regency. And that whole thing that happened in The Hague was because we didn't protect Lance Larson as a Hawaiian subject. And Lance Larson is everybody, right? But that's why he was coming after us, his attorney. You know? But that's always mindful, because it doesn't stop in the university. It continues now that other people are teaching it, not just me, and that's important. So you're gonna see as we move where this has taken us today. So, Correcting History. This was a book written by Tom Kaufman, 1998, Nation Within, the story of America's annexation of the nation of Hawaii. Is that an accurate statement, the subtitle? There was no annexation, right? It's called occupation. In 2009, I believe, he reached out to me, because I know Tom. And he said, Keanu, changing the subtitle because of what you guys are doing at the university and publications. I said, right on, Tom. Nation Within, the history of the American occupation of Hawaii. And here he explains himself. I am compelled to add that the continued relevance of this book reflects a far-reaching political, moral, and intellectual failure of the United States to recognize and deal with its takeover of Hawaii, In the book's subtitle, the word annexation has been replaced by the word occupation, referring to America's occupation of Hawaii, where annexation connotes legality by mutual agreement. That act was not mutual and therefore not legal. Since by definition of international law, there was no annexation, we are then left with the word occupation. In making this change, I've embraced the logical conclusion of my research. You see, admitting it was illogical before. Sure. Tom's a friend. Into the events of 1893, 1898 in Honolulu and Washington. I am prompted to take this step by a growing body of historical work by a new generation of Native Hawaiian scholars. Actually, not just natives, but just scholars, who's not natives, like Lawrence. You know? Dr. KEANU writes, and he takes this quote from my larger article: "The challenge for the fields of political science, history, and law is to distinguish between the rule of law and the politics of power." He then ends, "In the history of Hawaii, the might of the United States does not make it right." And that's cool. Also, 2017, I think so. Hawaii State Teachers Association submitted a resolution at the annual conference of the National Education Association. And it said, the NEA will publish an article that documents the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in 1893, the prolonged illegal occupation of the United States in the Hawaiian Kingdom, and the harmful effects that this occupation has had on the Hawaiian people and resources of the land. These teachers actually been using my book, Wamau, in school. They've been teaching it. So they put it together. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So when they came home, got in touch with me, can you write the articles for the NEA to publish on their website? I said, of course. So the first one came out in 2018. The illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom government, the US occupation of the Hawaiian Kingdom. I explained what war crimes are, and the impact of the occupation on Hawaiian people. I addressed denationalization and the taking away of healthcare of our people at Queens.
Yeah, just real fast, just time check this way, we got like 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, so let me bring it to a close. Okay. So I think I built the context for you, right? And things are moving, right? I want to end with one point. Oh, 2 slides. Okay, so this is Oxford University Press publishing my work, Unconquered States, and that's a QR code if you want to get a copy. It's a free PDF. The book itself is $189 if you buy it from Oxford, free. My chapter. Okay, it's good. Okay, so the latest update. You guys want to hear the latest update?
Yep.
Students for fair admission versus Kamehameha schools.
Oh my God.
I was invited by Jack Wong to have a meeting with their legal team to explain how they can win this case. Jack Wong said he was too scared, too heavy. I said, oh, I understand, that's good, because I needed you to say that, because what that does is, it now gives us the basis to intervene in the case. So we're intervening as the Hawaiian Kingdom government. So, Aloha Ayau is my classmate, Kamehameha, class of 82. He's our lead counsel, Natalie Segovia. She's an international human rights lawyer. And the International Association of Democratic Lawyers, all on board. So, non-party intervener, Hawaiian Kingdom's motion to intervene. The Hawaiian Kingdom has a vital interest in the outcome of this case. As a state under international law, the Hawaiian Kingdom has a duty to protect its territorial integrity. Because Student for Fair America is trying to say American civil rights law apply in this case. No, no, no. Hawaiian Kingdom law applies, not American law. Hawaiian Kingdom also has a duty to protect the public interest and ensure due process and fair trials are respected. If the lawsuit is allowed to proceed without adequate application and consideration of Hawaiian Kingdom laws, and administrative measures allowed under international humanitarian law and the law of occupation, this could result in an unfair trial, which international legal experts agree would amount to usurpation of sovereignty under the law of occupation, which is a war crime. And that person wrote the legal opinion on war crimes, Professor William Chavis, who's also in my book, Royal Commission of Inquiry. He agreed to give testimony, video conferencing from England when oral hearings are set. And also 2 other scholars are going to be giving, the ones who wrote the chapters in my book. And finally, the Hawaiian Kingdom has a duty to protect the Kamehameha schools, being a private trust established under and by virtue of Hawaiian Kingdom laws, as well as future generation of Aboriginal Hawaiians who are the intended beneficiaries of Ali'i Pauahi Trust. The mission policy of Kamehameha schools favoring Aboriginal Hawaiians is consistent with controlling Hawaiian Kingdom laws regarding affirmative action in Rex versus Booth. Addressing the particulars of 19th century Hawaiian Kingdom law regarding Kamehameha schools admissions policies in the context of applicable civil rights and national welfare laws of the country. So now, we're right up there in the middle, and we're going to be filing that on Monday. It was completed yesterday. Things are going to be going to the next level, and attention is now going to be automatically shifted away from Kamehameha and admission policy to the Hawaiian Kingdom as an occupied state and war crimes. So the United States actually are being asked by the court to intervene in the case as a government. Remember Bruce Lee did this? So hey, is the U.S. administration going to say what happened in The Hague never happened? No way. Go check the records. Yeah. So with that, I want to bring it to a close, and then we're going to start the play. And after the play, we're going to take question and answers.
Yeah. So if you can, we would love to have you. We're gonna have a very packed room for the next 40 minutes or so. But if you have not experienced the reenactment, please stay. You will not be sorry. Some of you in our audience have already your scripts and you will be participating. And also, if you do not have a script, you will still be participating. And so this play, if you have not seen it, this play is what we have is the only recorded meeting from 1897 of the collection of the Kauai petition signatures. And this was a meeting that took place in Hilo at the Salvation Army Hall. And we'll have a little bit.
There's a door open, we can't hear you.
So we'll have a little bit more of a formal introduction. We're going to transition right now and bring on our players. But please stay if you want to have a very full-bodied spiritual experience of being transported to that time and really hearing the words that were spoken at that time. Just bring that forward. So please stay if you can. And we'll get to our introduction formally in a couple minutes. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Nice talking to you.
No. I never bang your him up. Guys like me? Okay. We all right in the chair. Okay.
I'm alive.
Same presentation. been saying this for a long time.
No, but he's smart and
No, precedence. So precedence.
One down.
All of the international references is precedence.
Everybody knows your part, right?
No, I don't.
Turn the light off. I'm gonna put my light bulb on. No, think about it's all coming to a head, you know? Oh, yeah. I didn't know. What time is it now? Afternoon, then. We can stay for a second. Oh, my We're not going to walk, we're going to run. Yeah, do your cousin. Right there. That's Papa's cousin. She's really good. Oh, no, this one's part of the kingdom.
Does anybody have an iPhone charger? Because I could just use during the play. Then you can watch it. Just plug it in here. It doesn't matter. Where's the pastor? No?
Just so you guys know, we made James a pastor because he's wearing too much clothes. You need a pastor yet. He'll be like, and I think it's smart. Mark
Aloha no kapo.
Aloha.
As we're getting ready, right now we're actually going to just open up with a little protocol. First, Oripa'a kako. Oripa'a kako. Hola, hola. And so, he ovo onani no way anai mayo. He kumu o lelo Hawaii vo. Okay, alo he kahua. Right? I teach a little Hawaii on the very much foundation level, which is all we all need that today, tomorrow, yesterday, and forever. Right? And so I always start off with doing, as a lot of us do, protocol to ask for permission to enter, to remind us to be makokau. When we're going to be makokau. Our priest over here was not supposed to be the priest today, but he was makokau, and we didn't have one, and so he's here. That's how we got to be. And so I want to share, this oli is called Kumayo. And those of you that know this oli, please chant this with me. Yeah, it talks about us standing for what is right for Hawaii. I am Hawaii. How many of us are Hawaii here? We should all be saying that. Right? This chant, the first line is Kumayo he Hawaii. He in Hawaiian means I am. I am of. And so we say such as this. Kumayo he Hawaii. Sing with me, please. Kumayo he Hawaii. We'll change it up just a
little bit because there's another word that's within this line. It's Hawaii. Can we say that? Hawaii. Hawaii. I mean, no disrespect to anybody. He Hawaii stands for those that have koko, those that are, descendants to this āINA. And so that is the he Hawaii. The Hawaii is if you're not he Kanaka Hawaii, if you're Kanaka Hawaii or Kanaka Lahui, meaning you don't have koko to this āINA. That doesn't mean that we are divided. That means that you have kuleana too, just like us, on this āINA, with each other. With learning our language, with learning our culture, with instilling it, perpetuating it forever and ever. So that we all live. Because when us Kanaka thrive, everybody else thrives. And so, Yola, mahalo. Humayo he Hawaii and Hawaii. Let's try that line real quick. Humayo he Hawaii. Next line. E hoi. E hoi. Mahalo kupuna, you guys are all here. E hoi means I come with respect. I come here respecting what I know not of. When I want to listen, I want to learn, and I want to perpetuate, give to them to understand. E malama ina kuleana. E malama ina kuleana. I am here ready to take on what is my responsibility. We may not know what that is just yet, but that's why we're here, to learn. What is your kuleana to Awamo? In this day and age, because all of us get kuleana. We have 2 days of when mana is needed. And so take heed to what we're saying as people of Hawaii. Pay attention to what we're saying as Kanaka of this space. Listen, ho'olono, kako, to the stories of our kupuna, so that we know how to move forward together. It's time. We oni pa'a as one. Ho'okahileo. Ho'okahileo. Walaba. Kalamai. Na ho'okahileo walaba. That means I only gotta say this one time. Yes, I'm gonna say that one time. One time. We gotta oni pa'a kako. Olano. Mahalo. Let's try this one more time together. Oya. Kumayo he Hawaii. E hoi. E malama ina kuleana. E maliu mai e. Mahalo ana kala ho'okele, ka ho'okele crap for writing that beautiful poem.
Hello everybody, and thank you for being here. It's been a long day. Emily is going to be handing out different lei to different people so that when our guests arrive, they're going to be coming in over there, that you have the opportunity to greet them with lei. So then I'm going to give you a little bit of history about this drama, and we want to thank and acknowledge Didi Lee Kwai, whom some of you may have met back in the day. Didi wrote the drama after we saw a newspaper article from the San Francisco Call that was published in 1897 called Strangling Hands Upon a Nation's Throat. It was written by this woman who was passing through Hawaii. And while she was here, she sat in on a meeting that was held at the Salvation Army Hall in Hilo. So she was the only white person. And then our Miss Mickelson got sick. And so we just found a new Miss Mickelson this morning. So here she is. So I'm encouraging her to use her loud voice. Anyway, the article was written and brought to our attention, and Didi, our friend, saw that article, and we were talking about how that could be turned into drama, and she volunteered to write the script right then. And in 2 weeks, the script was ready, and we did the first presentation on the Queen's birthday, September 2, in 2001. What that tells you, this drama is like 25 years old.
Wow.
We We have done it hundreds of times. And it was really professional back in the day, and we encouraged everyone to come in period costume, and we were all dressed. And today it's not so. But we realized over time that what happens in the drama really doesn't need a costume. And so I'm gonna just say this. Who's number 1? Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're, who's 8? I'm just saying that because we have to have a number 8. Who has a script that has number 8 highlighted in green?
I think I remember that nothing.
I'll take number 8.
If I find number 8, you can have number 8. This is NΑWAHI, so this is somebody's script. Okay, so we need somebody to be number 8.
Somebody less than, let me see
Okay.
what it says.
So you can be
It
8.
says number 8.
Okay, who's 9? Who's 10? Okay. Who can do kumamo? Okay, so right after number 10, we will all stand up and we'll do, we used to have a big flag, we don't have it.
We'll start Ikumomo and then we'll have folks join in.
Yeah, we have, but we used to have the really big flag.
So all of us, well, some people have their flags already, but if anybody would like to take extra flags, we will have just a sea of flags that we can do, Hawaii Pono'i.
Yeah, and then we'll ask Lani to start Hawaii Pono'i. Which is first, Hawaii Pono'i or kumamo?
Hawaii Pono'i is first.
So, that comes after like 25 years of doing this drama with or without costumes, with or without people in the audience who play the parts, and sometimes we gotta play the part. So it's pretty loose. But I would encourage all of you who have a speaking part to kind of put your intellect aside and remember, because you're Kanaka, these meetings were being held everywhere, all islands, pretty much all islands, and they were being held in churches. And because churches are where people gather together, and if they weren't in churches, they were in people's homes. And the neighbors would come and the families would come and they would learn about our history and why they should be signing a petition saying they don't want to be annexed to the United States. So that's what this drama is about. What people said and what people did. So when you open your mouth to say your part, do not read it. Say it. Just open your mouth. Let your kupuna speak. They already said it, like choke time. And the reality is we're continuing to say it. And it's something we ought to remember. But you already heard from KEANU, so I don't have to tell you any of that. Mrs. Campbell and Mrs. NΑWAHI are coming pretty soon. We're all in the Salvation Army Hall. And it's pretty big hall, but not big enough. So there are doors and windows that are kind of open. If you remember how old churches are, I mean, it's pretty open. And there's a bunch of people outside because they can't get in. So I'm gonna cue the thing, and then our play will begin. And then at some point, if you're following along on your script, you'll know when it's your turn to speak. And the other thing is, I don't think it was a quiet service. I think people were like not really happy. And they said stuff like, well, you'll hear. They yelled a lot. And feel free to join in and say a'ole. Try not to swear. I don't think anybody was swearing. It wasn't caught in the script. Miss Nicholson was sitting there and sitting next to a translator, these two people over here, and the translator was telling her everything and she was taking notes. And on her way home, she started writing an article, and it ended up in the San Francisco Call newspaper. That's like the headline. And it was titled, "Strangling Hands Upon a Nation's Throat," so she got it. And so we kind of honor her as well. And the other people, I think, the other person that we need to honor is Dee Dee. Because when she saw it, and she saw the potential for drama as an educational tool, she wrote it. And then her legacy continues, and it's 25 years, and wherever you are, Dee Dee, thank you so much. You guys ready to go? Okay. She wrote the article on September 22, 1897, on the deck of the passenger ship Australia on her way home to San Francisco. Take it away.
The strongest memory I have of these islands is the meeting house of the Salvation Army in Hilo. On the island of Hawaii, it was a small, crude place, enough for 300 people, I believe. Bare rafters could be seen overhead, and the bare walls were improved with some biblical teachings written in English and Hawaiian. Don't boast about yourself for tomorrow. Without Christ, there is no salvation. As I entered the bell of the foreign church, standing atop a beautiful bluff of Hilo, rang 10 times. This place is filled with Hawaiian people, and outside a crowd of people who could not come inside were standing patiently. This was a meeting conducted by the women. Nevertheless, several groups of men had come there. The women wore Mother Hubbard dresses of calico or cloth and wore white and black sailor hats. The men were dressed in coats and pants made like those of Americans. Then the multitude of people separated, and 2 tall women entered who were dressed in black clothing. They wore black kid gloves with black hats that were decorated with black feathers. The slightly taller roses encircled the top of her hat, and lying upon her neck, the breast was a lay expertly Mrs. Iolani Campbell, the president of Hui Hawaii Aloha āINA, Ona Hawaii. Her companion was the secretary of the group's branch in Hilo, Mrs. Emma NΑWAHI. There are 100,000 people in the islands. Of these, not 3% have declared for annexation. The natives, the loss of nationality is hateful, aberrant. It is the old battle, white man against the brown, white might against right, straight against weakness, power and intellect, and art against docility, inertia and simplicity. The man suffering from an acute attack of annexation mania said to me, I tell the natives that work for me, you might as well walk out into the sea and attempt to push out the incoming wave with your 2 uplifted hands as to try to prevent what's coming. It's purely a question of conquest, I admit. We are stronger and will win. It's a survival of the fittest. He was a tall man, majestic, handsome face, 3/4 haole, as they say here. His hands were gripped tightly in front of him, and he looked down upon the heads bowed before him and gave a few short words of prayer for the opening.
Kia kua ngā makua ngā kapuna. Pule kako. E komako makua I loko o Kalani. E hoana ia ka wanoa. E hiki mai ka opuni. E malama ia ko maki ma ko honoene. E like me ia e malama yama kalani ia.
There is something impressive in strong prayer spoken in an unfamiliar language. You do not hear words but tones. He was appealing with his feelings, not his reason. And then the voice of the minister ended.
Amen.
Amen. And the audience replied,
Amen.
I watched Mrs. NÄWAHI with curiosity when she stood and spoke to the people. I had never heard two women speak to the multitudes like this. Would this Hawaiian woman be embarrassed, timid, or self-conscious? None of these things. Her candid manner was like Charlotte Perkins Stetson's 2 years ago, the most interesting speaker of the Women's Congress. The thoughts of the Hawaiian woman were of her subject, not herself. There was something pleasing in her manner of speaking and which compelled me to look at her, while the person who translated for me by my side whispered her translation to me. All the while, the words were being spoken.
He la hui kanaka, nā vali kā kou, ka la hui Hawaii. A ole hoi o kā kou I kaika, koe vale no kā kou no kahilike. We are a weak nation of people, we Hawaiians, and we have no power unless we are united. O America, we puia he āINA kua ko'a ia. O nā kanaka, o Laila, he mau hoa aloha. He mau hoa aloha hoi. No ka la hui ngā wali. The United States of America is an independent land, and the people there are friends. They are friends indeed of weak nations. E ho ike aku kā kou ia la kou. E ho ma ike aku kā kou ia la kou. E like me ko la kou aloha I ko la kou āINA. A aua mo I nā eha mamua o ka haawi ana aku. Pela no ko kā kou aloha, I ko kā kou āINA. A e no noi aku, a ole la kou e lawe mai a kā kou aku. We will show them. We will make them understand that just as they love their land and would endure suffering before giving it up, so do we love our land. And we pray that they do not take it from us. Amen. O ko ka ko mana o lana, e ia ke kunei, me ke kupa'a he po'ohili me ka po'ohili, he pu'uai me ka pu'uai. Here is our hope, standing shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart. O ka leo nā kanaka, o ka leo noia o ke akua. The voice of the people is the voice of God. He oia i'o, e lohe ana ka āINA, ma ke la au ka moana. I ko ka kou leo ua, e wawalo hele aku ai e lohe la kou. Surely the country on that side of the ocean hears our call for help. By joining our voices to cry for help, they will hear. Ma ke ia pala ka kou inoa, ana mai I ke ia la. O oe ka wahine o Hawaii. Ua loa'a ia oe he wā e no'o ai. Upon this petition of ours that we are submitting for signatures today, you, the women of Hawaii, have a chance to express your thoughts. Ai. O ka palapala o nā kāne, o ho'o au nā ia mai ana noia. E ka hui o nā kāne, I ka ve e pau ai, Ike kako inoa ia. The men's petition will be sent on by the men's group as soon as the signing of the names by the men in Honolulu is completed. Aole ke ia he mau hana e wā. Aole hoi he ho puni puni ma ko kako. Ala hele o ka hana. O ke ia wale no ko kako, ala hele ha ka kai. These are not underhanded actions, nor is our course of action deceitful. This is our only way to whana. E ike nā mea apau a e ho'o maupopo I ko kako palapala ho'o pipi. Everyone may see and know of our petition. Okay, ya āINA no kako oia, ko kako Hawaii. This land is ours. Our Hawaii. Behea, e ho'onele ia nei ko kako nā hui? Shall we be deprived of our nationality? E ho'ohui ia nei ko kako me America? Shall we get next to America?
At this time, the minister introduced a woman, Mrs. Campbell, to the people. She spoke with pleasant smiles, and the men and women stamped in approval and cheered. She spoke only all to trust her with sincerity and gentleness of voice as she leaned forward and said,
Stand firm, my friends. O ke aloha I ka āINA, he mea nui ia. Ya oi, a mea.
Aye.
Love for the land is more important.
More
important. E koa, e ikaika, e vivo ole, me ka ho'omanawa nui. Be brave, be strong, be fearless. Our time will come. Hiki mai ana. Ko kako wā e kakau I noi I ke ia palapala ho'opiki. E ka po e aloha ia Hawaii. Sign your names on this petition. Those of you that love Hawaii. E hiala. E hiala. E hiala. How many? How many of you? How many indeed will sign? How many? All.
She waved her dark hands with short fingers and worn fingernails. They showed of poverty and work, of contact with the land they claimed.
He mea kakau lu pepa ia nei. E o lelo aku iaia I ho'o kou mana'o. A laila ike mai na Amerika. A laila maila o ho'olohe. Maila kou.
What is it? What did she say?
Here is a writer for the newspaper, she says. She says to the people, tell her your feelings. Then America will know, and perhaps they will listen.
Heva America, heva.
And at this time, something amazing happened. The men and women all stood up, one by one, and spoke a few words of faith.
Wait, this is my manao. This is my feeling, my feeling. I get plenty aloha for this land, our land. And I want us to be independent.
I love this land. I don't want it to be annexed. This is my land where I was born. And I love it just like the American loves his. Would he really want his land to be annexed to another larger?
American rob of people's independence.
Oh, yeah.
Restored. We were never consent to annexation. We love America.
If the great nation is fair, we are in that annexation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That speaker should leave.
Oh, yeah.
They told me to say no annexation. Never.
Our group has 300 members. They have sent me here. We really oppose annexation, all of us.
I love my āINA. I love my land. We look to America as our friends. Are they our friends?
The people of Molokai oppose annexation. They will continue to oppress us.
I am my district, and I will show you. I stand. We all stand to show our love for our country and the Hawaiian flag, not the American flag.
So, how was that? Let me just say that if you ever want a copy of the script, you're welcome to have it. If you are a teacher or if you are in a community organization where they would like to do the drama, let us know. We'll give you a copy.
Take your script home if you like it too.
And you can also take your copy home if you want to. So when Didi wrote this, she said that one of the things she wanted to have happen is that this information be shared, because it's not a lecture. And yes, you could get it in a lecture. You could get it in a film, but you get it in your gut when you do it. So she was like really on it, really bright. Sorry she's not here, but for what you learned today, now's the time. If you have questions, you can also do that too. So feel free. If you want to say something like, that was difficult, you're welcome to do that. Floor is open. Yes.
First of all, mahalo. And mahalo kia kua, mahalo nā hukuna. I've watched this many times, and every time it goes deeper. Every time kupuna speaks. That we're here. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here. The power of peacefully standing together to share by embodying, by
others.
By standing together, we must proceed. It begins today. Faith government give back our Queen Research our Manao and our love begins today.
The Aloha spirit that is going to save everybody on this planet. Bible. Aloha.
It's super stoked to be cruising with all, especially on this day. So mahalo nui.
We need to stand together even more today. We must put our other teachers watching us.
Yes.
Question for KEANU as a corporation under Chapter 31 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Civil Code.
So the Council of Regency essentially implied tasks. So the whole point of the invasion, that's the cornerstone of the law of occupation. Right now, when you look at the state of Hawaii as a cabinet with Sanford Dole and other insurgents, they told everybody to hijack an existing system and then eventually move to bring the occupation to an end. Natural resources is actually called the Ministry of the Interior. They just done in such a way that it doesn't create under the state of Hawaii law. Council of Regency has to proclaim to bring the provisional laws of the Hawaiian Kingdom so long as they don't business under DCCA would be transitioned, complied with the law of occupation in 1893, or you're going to do it now. And individuals are going to get hit. And there's no statute of limitation on war crimes. International law is heavy because they confirm everything. And that is important. So through time, we've been able to build on that. And that's where we are now. And so play the game, knowing transition is coming. Real. Be an American soldier. Don't jump up and out. I'm an American. Brother, blend in. Put snow on you and wait till the troops come and get you. The main thing is protect your family. That's the main thing.
Shortly. Question back there?
Your sentiment and feeling towards Amelika, or how would you encourage, whether Hawaiian Baikoko or Hawaiian nationals, however you want to put it, how would you encourage us to look at our relationship with Amelika, people from Amelika who may not know?
So our relationship with Amelika is it's a foreign country. So right off the bat, that's Amelika, that's not the mainland. Right? You gotta start changing the way we say things. Now, when we look at the American military here, and we cover this in the operational plan, you basically, under international law of occupation, Hague regulations, because it's Army regulation, I'm not making this stuff up, that's just the way it is, right? The entity that is obligated to establish a military government with the civilian government of the occupied state is the occupant, not the occupier, the occupant that is in effective control of territory. Because that is the only way that you can enforce laws when you're in effective control of it. How do you do law enforcement? So you have two types of claimants here, occupants. You got federal and state of Hawaii. So the federal government, military, is only in effective control of less than 500 square miles. Right? Talking the effective control of more than 19,000 square miles. Through the counties, through the Department of Law Enforcement, they have that ability. So it's the state of Hawaii that has that duty to transform itself into a military government. So who runs the military government is the Hawaii Army National Guard most senior Army officer. You know what that does? That shows we are in control of our destiny, not the feds, by law. I already had meetings with top level, I understand, especially the guys sitting in an office now. But it doesn't change the fact that you still got a duty to perform.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hold them accountable. So I told General Haro, who was a 2-star general, I said, I laid it out with him. It was at the Waikoloa, the Hilo of Hawaii, at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, commemorative grad, 78, right? Naval intelligence, and he knew how this works. So as I'm laying it out with General Haro, just us three, I said, you understand why you have a duty to perform? And if you don't perform your duty to take over the state of Hawaii and replace Josh Green, the civilian governor, with you as military governor, you're committing a war crime by omission. Army doctrine. That means if you know of war crimes being committed, you can be held accountable for war crimes, right? He said, I see it. I said, okay. But don't take my word for it. You do your own due diligence. So I recommend to you, you go task your staff judge advocate, your JAG, Lieutenant Colonel Phelps, who came out of the 25th Infantry Division as a captain from the JAG, Army Garrison Hawaii, have him refute all this. If he can show that Hawaii is not an occupied state, then you got no problem. If he can't, you got a duty to perform. 3 months in, Lieutenant Colonel Phelps tells Haro, Dr. Sai's right. This is an Army mission. Then I find out Attorney General Lopez instructs Haro, don't listen to me. That only shows how real it is. They didn't say it's frivolous, they said don't listen to him. Well, he just got implicated along with her for war crimes. Okay, you guys wanna play games, it's coming down. So it's difficult to have people walk down this path, but they do it on their own. And this is how it is, right? This is not, let's talk about it. No, this is the way it is. And they do it. And I know how the military operates. And then on top of that, the US military in Hawaii, the feds, they know Hawaii's occupied. My friend who graduated with me from Kana, he retired out of the Air Force active as a senior master sergeant. That's like command sergeant major level. And he knows, all of them told him, yeah, we all know. Everybody knows, but nobody's pulling the trigger. Okay, we're gonna pull that trigger. And that's why we're doing things that, and there's a lot of things that we do that we don't say. Because you know, Hawaiians say, you don't say you're going fishing. Otherwise the fish go in here and swim away. I just go holo. When I come back with the poke, right, you know what kind of fish I got and where I got it from. And ahi is not the only poke you can eat. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. So I'm glad that I was able to share with you folks that we're preparing to file that paperwork with the federal government with very reputable attorneys, right? And then I find out, Monday's Martin Luther King Day. Close. So we're going to be filing on Tuesday. My friend outside, Ivy Werderman, an attorney who's also involved, he said, bro, KEANU, Monday's a holiday. Okay, Tuesday we're going to file. And then it'll be on the blog.
So, last question. Okay, so with that guy in the head, knowing that he's already breaking so many rules and so many laws.
Oh, he's already pushed aside, he goes on a chain.
Don't have the backbone to do their duty.
Here's the knows it, but he says, but I'm only a lieutenant colonel. Yeah, you're a lieutenant colonel because the 2-star general, 1-star general, the colonels all got hit for failure to perform. So we're dealing with everybody knows, but everybody's scared.
Yes.
Well, that proves our point, right? Now the trick is how do you get somebody to do something they wouldn't normally do? You gotta get leverage. And we have to do it a lot of times under the radar. This is not like, let's share it with the world. No, hey, when things pop, you can see it. Because imagine our Mokupuni in 1893, pop, it just happened. Oh, what happened?
Right.
And then you have to adjust, and then learn how to be American and survive. This one would happen, pop. And we gotta learn how it is to be a Hawaiian subject, Hawaiian constitutional law, civil rights, under Hawaiian law, not American law. So we still gotta deal with denationalization, and we've managed to institutionalize the issue and the history of Hawaii within in the academy. And that's good, but it's still being fought by people in Hawaiian studies, because they still say we colonized and we're indigenous people. What? But you know what? There's no research money in the truth. You think I could get research grants for putting books together? Oh, choke money in indigenous rights and tribal nation status. Boy, big money. One person got $50 million, academic. So we're still dealing with that. So again, it's got to come from the top down, not try to get people to do something that they can't do anyway. But they will benefit. So the one thing that once the military government is established, automatically every Native Hawaiian is going to get free healthcare, because that's the law in 1893. Now, how do we get to that point to fund it, right?
Yeah.
Got to get creative, but that's the law. Can't deny that. Also, Native Hawaiians, Aboriginal Hawaiians, on the affirmative action Hawaiian law, they can get up to get an acre of land from the government, $17 an acre, which was 50 cents an acre in 1893. Inflation calculator, $17 today. That's the law. Who in their right mind as a Hawaiian, I can jump on board. So there's a lot of benefits that our people are going to get because that's what the law says. But my job is to bring compliance to that law so everybody benefits.
Right.
That's how it works.
So fixed state treasury will be Hawaii's treasury, so when we pay in, we're paying into ourselves.
Yeah, so state of Hawaii taxes will continue to be legal under the provisional laws, but IRS is illegal. That's federal tax. You know, so all of that is all laid out in the operational plan.
Tax the hotel.
No, right, yeah. Thank you.